So if a parent has a little girl with a big phallus that looks like a penis, can that parent be very comfortable treating that child as a female, dressing that child in pink?
And so, Dr. Glassberg says, even when it's not medically necessary, early surgery is standard in the United States.
We feel that a child to have a good gender identity has to have genitals that match their identity.
But it didn't work out that way for Cheryl. Her sense of whether she was a boy or a girl was never clear to her.
I think I have a gender that's different from most other people, and it's not exactly male or female. As a teenager, I was very depressed, and I was very angry, and I was very withdrawn.
When Cheryl started menstruating at age 13, her parents decided the ordeal was finally behind them. But nothing about her surgery was ever explained to Cheryl. Increasingly confused and uncomfortable, at 19, she decided to research her medical records. It took 3 years to get them, but there it was in dry medical terminology. Sex, male. Then the words true hermaphrodite, and then name changed. The family secret was out. But what had been done to her was too painful to discuss. She pushed it away.
And I wasn't able to speak about it until I was 35. And then I was in the middle of a big emotional crisis.
In the eyes of the world, Cheryl was a highly successful business person, a principal in a high-tech company. She had moved to Japan and become fluent in the language. And then at 35, the demons returned. In crisis, she went to a psychologist who reassured her and set an appointment for the following week.
And I headed out of her office in a fog. And by that night, I was working out ways to kill myself. And then when I thought that of how sad and how awful that was, that nobody would know what it was about, I got angry. And I thought, if I'm going to do that, I'm going to do it in front of one of the doctors who did this to me. And I don't feel that way now, but that was the key, is changing from feeling hopeless to feeling angry.
Cheryl's breakdown became her breakthrough. She returned to the United States, moved to San Francisco, and slowly began to heal.
When I decided that human feelings were something that I should get back, and when I decided that whoever I was couldn't possibly be something to be ashamed of.
At 35, Cheryl began searching for other intersexuals. Tonight, a small group of intersexuals have gathered to share their experiences.
My name is Christy, and I'm a resident of Northern California, and I was born with partial AIS. And shortly after my birth, my enlarged clitoris was removed.
Partial androgen insensitivity syndrome, AIS, is a genetic condition in which the body's cells only partially respond to male hormones. Christie's chromosomes are XY. She was born with a large clitoris, undescended testes, and no vaginal opening. She does not menstruate, and she is not fertile.
At the age of 13, I was told by my mother that I was a hermaphrodite.
When she was older, Christie's mother explained, she would have surgery to create a vagina.
The Christmas of my freshman year, I went to New Orleans and had a vaginoplasty. Very, very frightened I was. Very, very frightened. But I felt I had to be strong for my family.
In 1994, doctors in Louisiana did what is called a vaginoplasty, taking a piece of Christie's intestine to cosmetically create a vagina.
Prior to the vaginoplasty, the destructive, barbaric vaginoplasty, I just had a sheath of skin, that did lubricate. Like the skin did lubricate, which was cool. My body responded to sexual stimulation, which of course it doesn't now, but it did.
As a psychologist, Howard DeVore has treated intersexed people for almost a decade. Only recently has he been willing to share his own history.
I had at the time of birth what was later referred to as a third-degree epispadias, which is basically an opening of the genitalia from the tip of the phallic structure all the way through what would have been testes or labia majora down to the rectum. And they decided to assign me as male within the first couple of days of life, and 16 surgeries later, the first at 3 months and the last at 23 years of age, I still have fistula, I still have leaks, I still have strictures, I still have infections. And I always thought that, the doctors had some real powerful magic out there, and that one of these times when they peeled back the huge surgical dressing, underneath that surgical dressing there would be a perfect penis.
Was there?
Never. Intersex people don't fit the categories that most doctors are comfortable with. They want people who are male or female. Every single one of us knows that we are passing as something that we know we truly are not. Every single one of us grows up coming into contact with normal boys and girls and knowing we're not quite like that, we're not quite like that.
Welcome to a village in the Dominican Republic.
My name is Alberto Ruiz Felix, but everyone calls me Berto. I'm 21 years old. When I was 8, I walked around in a skirt or a dress and pigtails.
Just to emphasize how tricky all this chemical bodybuilding can get, there's a peculiar intersexual genetic defect called 5-alpha reductase that seems to be clustered by heredity in several small villages in the Dominican Republic.
5-alpha reductase is a disorder where individuals cannot convert testosterone to dihydrotestosterone.
Without the hormone dihydrotestosterone, genetically XY males like Alberto are born looking more like females.
They're frequently raised as females because they look like females, but as they get older, their penis grows, their testicles descend, and their identity becomes that of male, even if they were given a female identity at birth.
From about 9 years on, that's when I began to feel like a man.
Dharma Felix is Berto's mother. She and her husband had hoped for a boy, but a girl was fine too, as long as the baby was healthy.
When I bathed her in the hospital, my sister-in-law told me that she had testicles. I told her she was crazy, that she was only swollen. But then when I was bathing her, I felt a little organ inside, like a little boy's. People told me she was a hermaphrodite, a guevidoce.